Broadcasting live from the moon and back, this is The Coin Chat, the most trusted voice for all things cryptocurrency. Each week we dissect an important issue and cut through the noise and misinformation out there in the world of blockchain, cryptocurrency, and ICOs, capturing the facts that truly matter to you that will give you an edge in this fast-moving emerging market. The who, what, where, when, and how of what you need to know in crypto to get ahead so you don't get left behind. Now here are your co-hosts, financial and crypto experts Yuri Cataldo, Steve Good.
Hey, this is Steve Good on the Coin Chat with Yuri Cataldo, and we're joined by Malcolm CasSelle from Wax Token. Malcolm, welcome. It's a real pleasure. We've been speaking for quite a while on Telegram, so it's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to meet you guys.
Really cool.
Great, welcome.
So look, I mean, I followed you guys from the beginning of the ICO, and you guys had like the media, you were like the media animals. You had, article after article going and kept people informed, and it was really cool. And it was all announcement based as well, which was a little different. But going from there to where you are now, I think, this is just a quick kind of intro episode for people who haven't been following Wax closely. So yeah, just start by giving us a little bit of a quick rundown of from, pre-ICO to where you guys are now, just a kind of an update as to where you guys have gotten to.
Yeah, sure. That was literally 2 years ago, a year and a half since the ICO completed, 2 years since we announced, hey, this is what we're going to do with Wax. A lot's happened. So in that year and a half, it was the largest ICO of Q4 2017, and the ICO window closed after that, as you probably recall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have been heads down building. So since then, we launched the beta testnet of our chain. We launched multiple dApps on it. We have launched lots of new products on those, within those dApps. And we're now doing over $1 million of merchandise a day on the testnet, about 500,000 transactions. So it's one of the most used chains in the world by any metric. It's by far the most used chain for NFTs, in other words, like merchandise. And if you really look and say, hey, we're not without gambling and without trading of actual like fungible tokens, it is like orders of magnitude beyond anything else out there.
Yeah.
We have a lot of users on the chain, and we're excited because the mainnet is actually coming out in June. So it's really exciting.
Mainnet date, right?
Yeah, June 30th is the date, so that's when there'll be a token upgrade. So everyone participating in the token sale has an ERC20, which really doesn't do anything. It's really just the claim check for the mainnet. And that's when really things get exciting, because then you can stake, you can vote, you can, of course, receive those block rewards. Block producers will be active, and the whole actual ecosystem of the delegated proof of stake will be live.
Awesome.
And so that's really exciting. Plus, we've built a bunch of microservices. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so when we go to mainnet for Wax, is it going to still remain as a single token where you're staking the token to create the ecosystem, or is there going to be a secondary fuel token, or how is it going to be when you actually put it out?
It's going to launch with one token. Now, there is a possibility to have a second token or third token or fourth token. I mean, there's lots of things you could do ultimately later, but the design, as was indicated in the white paper, and of course, as we've been working on, has one token.
Okay. So on the aspect of the tokens, I mean, looking at the platform, I mean, I can see there's a lot of digital trading that can go on, but as we talked about just before we started recording, there are cases where we would actually transmit real items rather than digital ones. But from what I'm seeing of the platform, the whole idea is they're not really ERC20 items. They're more like ERC721 items. Is that a fair way of describing each item as being a non-fungible item that's being transferred to someone else for an amount of money?
Well, think of Wax as the blockchain for digital goods. Okay, it's a platform. Okay, for digital goods, and so in that, it's not just the good that's moving back and forth. A platform means you need payment, you need authentication, you need authenticity. There's a whole bunch of services that go to making a marketplace functional. And when you look at something like Ethereum or EOS or Tron or these other chains where people have tried to build a marketplace on top of the general purpose chain, it doesn't really work that well. There's lots of steps involved. It's complicated. people don't use them. I mean, there's like very, very small numbers. This is a blockchain that's designed to be a platform for digital goods. And when I say that, think about all the things you would do if you go to eBay, or all the things you do when you go to Amazon, right? Think about all the steps, the count, the looking at the items, looking up the items, transferring the items, how do you deal with payment? All those aspects are actually built into the chain natively. And so that means that anyone can build a marketplace, like Thanos.
So unlike being ERC-721, being that it's a wax token means that you're enabling the encapsulation of other coins because you don't care about the coin because you've got your own mainnet to do that. Yeah. So Wax is sort of a master NFT, and that it's a container that can hold anything. We've tokenized other tokenized items. So you can, of course, trade Vigo, which is a tokenized skin, which is a very successful dApp on our platform. And like, Tether has tokenized US dollars, Viral, another dApp on our platform, has tokenized physical products. So you can buy like a $3,000 pair of sneakers, and that item, that Wax NFT, trades back and forth dozens and dozens of times. The shoe never changes. It sits in the warehouse, and you have high-res 3D photos. You can look at it. You can see inside, to make sure it's authentic, zoom in on the stitching, all that kind of stuff. Right. It's authenticated. But then I can trade the token, essentially the Wax NFT, back and forth. And people are doing that to the tune of $1 million a day. Can I just switch over quickly to the Block Explorer? Because, we know what we look at when we see Block Explorers.
Yeah.
I just love yours, and I want to show people because it's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun because you can see the actual digital items being traded in real time. And they go, Argh!
Yeah, I mean, here's on the screen. I want to bring it up for people because when people think of Block Explorers, they're thinking, about, Bitcoin or Ethereum and tracking item. And it's like, I'm looking at this, and I'm like looking at the trade activity, and here's the transactions that are going on. And I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so cool. And you've got
those are things being unboxed. And then what's cool?
Blockchain Explorer. This is like a trade explorer. This is so cool. I love it.
It is. Yeah, and then you can drill down. So, like, for example, if you click on the left and you go into that item, you can now see the details of it. That one doesn't have a 3D Explorer on it. If we go back, we might be able to find one. But there are items where you can actually zoom in and see it in 3D moving around, and it's so cool.
Okay, I haven't come across one of those yet. I've been playing around with
it. Yeah, there it is. You'll click on the 3D viewer right there.
Okay, cool. Oh, right.
Yeah. Now, of course, that's a sticker, so it's not as exciting as a shoe or a Vigo skin.
We can all get a cast for the unfriendly ghost anytime, though, right?
He does look pretty unfriendly. I think he maybe lost his private keys.
Definitely.
Yeah, he got hacked. Yeah.
So,
that was too good.
Malcolm, before we go a little bit deeper in there, I'm curious what made you want to get and start this company? What's your background in, and what are you hoping to take it into the future?
Yeah. So I actually jumped on board with a bunch of guys who really invented item trading, and they had a company called Opskins, and they said, hey, look, we need some more guys on the team, and that was when sort of the ICO thing was happening. Mm-hmm. And I had just finished running another company. It was a big public company. And we were sitting around, and they were like, we've had this idea for Wax many, many years, but we really couldn't do it. It just wasn't time. And it appeared June 2017 was the time. And we saw like the plans for EOS, which meant that you could have a chain that was fast. That delegated proof of stake was like an implementation that was like, wait, that could actually work. Half-second block confirmation times would get us. And you can see on the Block Explorer you just showed, you can see the transactions per second. That's all running on a delegated proof of stake system. The second thing was you had the token sale mechanism, which meant that there was going to be a lot of people who could support this thing. And having a lot of supporters, as you know, for something like a marketplace is fantastic. We had, tens of thousands of people apply to be, part of the token offering. And so it was like that moment. And so we all looked around and was like, well, who's going to start writing the white paper? And of course, I drew the short straw. So
Well, it's a very good white paper.
And then, of course, it's a team effort. Everybody jumped in, but somebody had to kind of like be responsible and make it happen. And about 2 months later, we had a white paper. We announced what we were going to do. I hired up a team, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And then, after we completed the sale, most of our team was really Opskins oriented. We hired up quite a bit to expand to support the Wax, blockchain. So to become your own protocol and a platform for digital goods, there is a lot involved. I mean, we have 100 people on our team globally. And so we've been cranking. So all these dApps that have worked fantastically, the tech team has been unbelievable. It's one of the best tech teams I've ever worked with in my career.
Where is your team distributed? Are they all in the States, or are they around the world? Or
we're all over the world. We're in every time zone that matters.
Really?
And then, for me as a serial entrepreneur, this is like company number 8 for me, and this is the evolution of both commerce, marketplaces, video games, and now of course blockchain. It brings kind of all this thing together. Our CEO was a co-founder of Tether, the first tokenized US dollars. So the idea of tokenizing something in the real world is not a new idea. It's the idea of it's the application to consumer products, which has just turned out to be fantastically successful. People really dig it.
That's really cool. God, I love it. So I'm a tech guy. This is, like I said, MIT and Stanford was like lots of working on new ideas, but this is by far the most dynamic. I think Wax is really paving the way for the future of commerce. I mean, you guys have all probably seen Ready Player One. Right? Yeah. So when he goes into that store and he's looking around and he sees digital stuff, skins, he sees 3D expressions of it, and he chooses it. And then remember how he buys the suit, and then a couple days later the suit shows up at his little hovel?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing already today. You buy a pair of shoes, you see it digitally, you own it, it's yours. You right-click, hit redeem, get sent to you.
Oh, wow.
That's happening today. And of course, 3D aspects, like the Vigo items you saw, you can see the 3D.
That's really cool.
And then we just launched a beta with a company called Terra Virtua. They have an AR viewer, so you can now you can connect your Wax account to it, and you can see your items in augmented reality. So I can see it floating in the room.
Oh, that's
cool. So that's a closed beta. I think we'll have
this now, like trying to touch it.
Exactly. So we should have an open beta before mainnet. No promises, but I think that's possible, and then people will be able to use it and download it. It's on Android, and as long as you have the AR core, it looks amazing, which is on the new iPhones as well. So it looks really cool.
Talking about the fact that you're going to mainnet, technically speaking, are there any challenges or any things that you guys are concerned with in terms of getting it to hit the date 30th of June, or is it all pretty straightforward?
Nothing is straightforward.
It's technology, isn't it?
Yeah, blockchain. And by the way, the blockchain is very hard. It just makes things so complicated. But we've complicated it, and maybe this is really because our vision is so large and vast, because we've built all these services that fit together, and those things create a platform. So it's not just a blockchain. It's a blockchain based upon years of running marketplaces. So if you run a business and you do it at high volume, you've done over 150 million transactions on Opskins, you know exactly what you need to make it work.
Yeah.
Usually through lots of mistakes and trial and error. So we took that and said, okay, we're designing a blockchain that can be a platform. So that's really what's made it complicated. To be perfectly honest, Steve, we've built all the pieces that fit together. And when you go through our blog, you'll see, wow, we have an account system, we have an all-access system, we have an express trade system. Of course, there's the blockchain itself, there's the marketplace. Every single aspect has like all these services included in it.
Yeah.
That's what makes this difficult.
There's no doubt the website is slick and it's really easy to navigate and use. So here's the question I think many people would want to know about. If they're in the gaming space or they're playing, Magic the Gathering, or they want to trade digital items, where do they go to get started? What's your recommendation for them to get started as people that want to buy or sell items?
Yeah, so the easiest place is, Wax.io is the entry point, right, to get your account. The biggest marketplace today is Opskins.com. We've designed Wax to enable other folks, thousands ultimately, to have their own Opskins.com. So let's say you guys have a following, you have 1 million followers, and on CoinChat, you're like, hey, look, we've assembled a bunch of cool stuff around crypto.